Alright, we have Deathproof. This is a film by Quentin Tarantino. Not sure if you guys are familiar, but he's a fairly big name in movie making right now. He makes all these weird, eccentric movies, but very violent usually bloody, and they're pretty good actually. I like them all for the most part. I can't think of a movie that he's made that I don't really like. So anyway, Deathproof. A lot of people who went to see this in the theater actually saw it with that zombie movie. I forgot what it was called, but it was. They're trying to do it in the same style as the old theaters that did Grindhouse, where you get to see a double feature. So you would get to see one film plus another one. Anyway, Deathproof. The story is kind of difficult to explain, but it's about this guy who stalks people with by going into bars, and he meets up with them and tries to hit on them if they don't give him a lap dance or, please them and whatever. He basically uses his car and he kills them. Long story short, there will be lots of death. Believe it or not, I actually like the style of this film because it's actually done in an old 80s film. So we're gonna say it. I'm not even sure, but when you watch it, you see like editing mistakes, but I think they're deliberate because they happen so often, and Quentin Tarantino, I know, does better movies than that, or at least Hollywood in general, so we have the technology, so I'm pretty sure he definitely deliberately put them in there, but it definitely gives the film a style that's kind of, I can't even explain it. You just gotta watch it. Anyway, it's pretty good, definitely recommend. It's very violent, definitely not for kids. Very bloody, and also it's about a bunch of girls who like to do crazy things, and I'm not going to tell you how that goes, but we won't go there. Anyway, and there's not that much nudity, believe it or not, although he's not really well known for that, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, Quentin Tarantino, Deathproof, pretty good. Alright, next, I'm going to... Oh, I totally hated this movie. Alright, okay. Macbeth. This is a new rendition of the original Shakespearean play of the same name, Macbeth. Now, if you're a fan of Shakespeare, you'll probably hear a lot of the same passages, and they'll be fairly familiar to you. However, the on-screen stuff doesn't really make any sense at all, because what you're seeing, I saw a couple of like simple scenes where it's more or less, it was like a good transposition, but when they talk about being king, that totally doesn't fly in the modern world now, and they have basically, it's a modern gang and modern urban setting, and you see big buildings, huge guns, and it doesn't quite fit. Also, it's fairly unengaging and anticlimactic. Even during the big parts where there's conflict, they try to like draw it out by making this montage of music and action, but it doesn't work because it's usually like bad classical music and it doesn't even draw you in. And the ending is very anticlimactic, and for those of you who know how it ends, which, should be pretty much anybody who's read Macbeth, it is not that good. And we all know it's a tragedy, so you know what's going to happen. But, yeah. So, don't watch it. Just, it's kind of lame. Alright, last one that was actually out on DVD, We Are Soldier. This is actually a football movie based on the original true event that happened back, I think, in 1969 or 1970, one of those 2 years. But I think it was 1969. There was a plane crash with a lot of the team members, football team members, from Marshall University. And what ended up happening was their entire team was pretty much destroyed, and there was a lot of other people that died too. So the entire town was hurting. But in this movie, it actually portrays three of the team members who are varsity team members. So they were not on the plane for some reason. And they're trying to rebuild the team because the president of the college was actually thinking about shutting it down. And, well, for good reason, because pretty much almost the entire football staff was on that plane, and their entire team was. Now, I think one of the big pivotal points of this film that actually might have been something important in real life was the NCAA, if you're not familiar, they're the college football board of decisions or whatever, and they decided to allow Marshall University in order that didn't make sense, but anyway, they allowed them to recruit freshmen onto their football team. Now, at the time, this was not allowed for any school. I'm not sure how the rules are now because I'm not actually a huge football fan. But anyway, this movie does a very good job of portraying the characters in it, what goes on in the story, and even the ending, the what I would call the epilogue. You actually end up finding out what happened with most of the main characters, and it's actually really interesting, and it's pretty good. So as far as football movies go, I want to say this is probably right up there with some of the best ones that you already know. Like, Remember the Titans, Facing the Giants. Okay, well, maybe Facing the Giants is kind of stereotypical, so we won't go there. But Gridiron Gang, definitely Gridiron Gang. So anyway, We Are a Soldier. I recommend that one. I thought it was pretty good. Alright, last movie of the week, I'm going to say, I'm going to recommend Waitress. Now, this is a movie that's not actually made it to DVD yet. I had the fortunate opportunity of actually going to my girlfriend's college, and she has a theater on campus. It's kind of like a refurnished auditorium, but it has a huge screen, and, it's pretty much like a theater experience. I watched Waitress. Now, if you haven't seen this movie before, saw any trailers, it is the romantic comedy with Kerry Russell. Now, I personally haven't seen Kerry Russell around since, like, Felicity, which is, like, this really old teen drama WB show, and that's a really long time. Also, the main male lead is played by Nathan Fillion, which, if any of you guys know, he is Malcolm Reynolds. So, anyway, Waitress is about this waitress, played by Kerry Russell, and she has this husband who knocked her up about 6 weeks prior to the beginning of the film. So we find out that she's pregnant, she has issues, but here's the problem. Their relationship is not that great. Their relationship is bad. He doesn't treat her with respect or consider her much, and he's really freaking annoying. You get really frustrated during the film just kind of watching it, but the male lead plays Nathan Fillion. He plays a doctor, an OBGYN. Yeah, Kerry Russell's OBGYN, actually. So this gets to be a slightly interesting dynamic, but there's definitely a lot of hilarious moments during the movie because the setting is just great. The supporting characters, they're all very, very funny. They have this atmosphere. I mean, it kind of takes place in a diner for the most part, this pie diner. So, anyway, thoroughly recommend Waitress. Now, anyway, I'm almost certain I did not make the 10-minute mark. So, what we're going to do is probably split this up. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them on. I have a ton of movie reviews to go through, so I'm going to try to do this a little bit better next time and be a little bit more organized like this one. I think this one went pretty smooth, and so we're gonna have this up hopefully soon for you guys, and I'll see you around. Alright, have a good night and enjoy the movies.